So please do note that when we get to the question and answer portion of our session, that Q&A will be recorded so that others that are not able to join us will have the benefit of your questions, which are always good ones. So I am joined today by Wade Gale at the Bank of New York Mellon, who's going to take you through a live demonstration of how to complete the steps that you'll need to complete to onboard your end users into MyGennyMay. But before we get there, we do want to give you kind of an overview and a sense of what's happening here. So here we go. So we're going to talk about our objectives and what we want to accomplish with today's training before we step into our overview, where I'll explain a little bit more about what is MyGennyMay and why we're making the change, exactly what is changing and what your roles and responsibilities are in the new portal. And then we're going to talk a little bit about getting started, how you register for your own portal account. And then the module that we have in the portal that is specifically for our organization administrators to be able to manage end user accounts. Talk a little bit about actually I don't think we're going to get into too much troubleshooting. We are going to save the troubleshooting items for a later presentation. We will have another training for this group on March 9th at 11 a.m., where we'll talk to you about how to manage end user accounts. And we'll get into some, actually, I'm sorry, I'm completely backwards. We will be talking about troubleshooting today in terms of sending registration invitations, but I do want to note that in terms of managing those user accounts once they're already in the portal, we will talk more about that on our March 9th session. Then we're going to do a live demonstration, and that's where Wade Gale takes over the wheel, and you should all be afraid because he doesn't drive well. And he is going to provide a live demonstration of how you send registration invitations and then provide access to your end users in the portal. So you'll be able to see us provide you those steps in our test environment. And then we're going to give you a few tips on what you need to do to prepare for onboarding end users and let you know that we do have some more information coming very soon to assist you with that. We'll end with a question and answer session, and we will hang on to answer all of your questions. So be not afraid. Next slide. Okay, so here's what we're here to do today, okay? We are going to give you a high-level overview of general features that are in the portal that any portal end user, any user of the portal will have access to. We're going to give you explicit instructions on how you register for your own account in the portal. And then we're going to give you some guidance on how to prepare to onboard your end users at your organization. Very detailed instructions on how to onboard those end users and a demonstration of that. And then we'll give you some information on troubleshooting and where you go to get help if you need help with onboarding end users from your organization into the portal. Next slide. So what is MyGennyMay? MyGennyMay is a single gateway to all of GennyMay's systems, applications, and resources. This is designed to boost some efficiencies for you and make it easier for you to do business with GennyMay. The portal provides enhanced security, and that's really what this is all about. It's about making sure that your information, your business transactions are safe and meet federal security requirements. It also provides a single entry point. So rather than having separate usernames and passwords for all of the GennyMay systems, you will have one username and one password to get into all of the GennyMay systems to do business with GennyMay. And the other thing is that, this really is about, like I mentioned, security and making sure that we meet federal security requirements. We have been required to introduce the portal, but what you're going to get is a much easier way of doing business with GennyMay, and over time will become a better and better friend to you. So we do expect that over time we will continue to modernize the portal, introduce more and more modernized applications, and make it easier to do business with GennyMay. But this was an important first step in making sure that everything that we're doing is secure. Next slide. So why the change? Single sign-on. Well, as I mentioned before, security controls, must adhere to some federal requirements, and that's why the change. But what you get with that change is single sign-on. As I mentioned, it is one username and one password to log into all of the systems that you need to do business with Ginnie Mae. It does add multi-factor authentication. So your username and your password are what are called factors. And we have an additional factor, which is a one-time PIN that will be required to enter into the portal. This is not going to be a stranger to you because most modernized systems, including your own bank accounts actually, most likely require this. And so what's going to happen is every time you go to log into the portal, it's going to ask you for a one-time PIN. This is a code that is going to be sent to you either via email or to your mobile device, you choose. And you take that PIN and you plug it into the field in order to gain access to the portal. So while this is new to how you do business with Ginnie Mae, it is not a new concept, and it's one that you're likely already encountering in your personal lives and probably in some of your workspaces as well. What is new to you in terms of Ginnie Mae systems is functional roles. So in the past, as you were attempting to gain access to Ginnie Mae systems, you needed to know each and every system, an application that you needed access to, and you would request that access. That's no longer the case. We've done some work to understand how your organizations are grouped and organized in terms of work. And we have created what are called functional roles. So based on your business function in your organization, that is how you assign access to your users. Keeping in mind that as administrators of this system, you are responsible for making sure that users only have the access that they require in order to do business with Ginnie Mae, in order to do their job responsibilities with Ginnie Mae. So please, do note that when you are assigning access to users in the portal, it's no longer important for you to know each and every system that they need access to. It becomes more important that you understand their business function. They're responsible for pooling, or they're responsible for reporting, or they're an authorized signer, so on and so forth. That is the information that's more important to you. And then by assigning that functional role that aligns with their job responsibilities, you will then be able to give them the access that they need. What this does is it positions us so that as we continue to modernize and introduce new applications, we can add those applications to that functional role, so that users are constantly being provided the access that they need based on the functional role that they were assigned. And you don't have to go back and continue to assign them new system access. There's also an invitation model that's going to give you an audit trail and actually make life quite simple when it comes to setting up user accounts and assigning access in our system. The key here is that it does have a checks and balances, meaning that as an organization, two organization administrators are required in order to provide access to any one end user. This isn't something that you can complete on your own. This is something that you will need two organization administrators at a minimum to complete. However, the process for doing so is very simple and managed through our Access Management Console in My Ginnie Mae. And it provides you an audit trail. It also provides you transparency in terms of the where the request is at in the workflow and approval process. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Next slide. So again, how is it changing? In our legacy environment, GMAP 1.0/RFS and GinnieNet, Ginnie Mae admins provided access to users. So those were the folks at the Bank of New York Mellon on behalf of Ginnie Mae. In the modernized environment, you, the organization administrators, provide access to your users. So you are responsible for all of the users within your organization. This is no longer something that, that the Bank of New York Mellon on behalf of Ginnie Mae will manage. In our legacy systems, issuers provided system access to their subservicers users, but in the new portal, your subservicers will be responsible for providing access to their org admins and manage their own end users. So this isn't something that the issuers need to involve themselves with. Based on the HUD 11707, Ginnie Mae, through the Bank of New York Mellon, will set up on the back end all of the connections that need to be made between issuers and their subservicers. So then issuers are responsible for onboarding their users, and subservicers are responsible for onboarding their users. In our legacy systems, you would go directly to that system and the URL for that system to log in. Now you're going to go through My Ginnie Mae to get to those systems. So those systems don't go away. There's just a different way of logging into them. And so everything will go through My Ginnie Mae. It's just one username, one password to log into all of our systems. In the legacy systems, you only needed a username and password to get in, but in My Ginnie Mae, you will also require a one-time PIN, which we talked about briefly. And then in our legacy systems, access was identified by the applications. And as I mentioned a minute ago, now roles are determined by your business function. And it is very important that you understand, as an organization administrator, you are responsible for making sure that your users have the appropriate access and no more than they need in our systems, just as a security measure. So again, no longer need a separate username and password for each system. You can use one username, which is your email address, and one password with an OTP to get into all of the systems that you need access to. In our legacy systems, password and user profile was managed by Ginnie Mae admins at the Bank of New York Mellon. That is no longer true. A lot of functions are self-service now, so users can reset their own passwords, they can update their own phone number, and a few other account attributes. And then whatever they can't manage on their own, they can contact you, their organization administrator, to assist them with. Our admins at the Bank of New York are no longer able to assist in managing those functions on behalf of end users. That responsibility falls squarely within the space of organization administrators at each of our business partners. Next slide. Okay, so a little bit more about some of these terms. So as an organization administrator, you are a privileged user who controls system access. You do this through what's called the Access Management Console in My Ginnie Mae. You get to establish user accounts, you can enable, disable, you can, user accounts, you can add functional roles and to those user accounts, you can remove functional roles from those user accounts. There's a lot that you do on behalf of your organization in order to manage user accounts, and you do have that responsibility and that privilege. You were formerly known as a security officer or an enrollment administrator in our legacy systems, but in My Ginnie Mae, you are known as an organization administrator, and you have a lot more responsibility and ability to manage your users and track their access because of My Ginnie Mae. So we also have what's called an operations administrator, and those are the admins, at the Bank of New York Mellon on behalf of Ginnie Mae that are responsible for giving organization administrators their access to our system. So the operations administrator will give the organization administrator access. It's the organization administrator who gives the end users in their organization access. An end user is anyone who needs to conduct business transactions, be it pooling, reporting, in My Ginnie Mae, through My Ginnie Mae in our legacy systems. Those are end users, and they are the ones who have a functional role to do business with Ginnie Mae. If you are an organization administrator who also does business as an end user in My Ginnie Mae, please note, there is a separation of duties within the registration and access workflow that does not allow you to participate in assigning yourself a functional role as an end user. That means two other organization administrators will have to request and approve a functional role for you to do business with Ginnie Mae. So if you only have two organization administrators, in your organization and you need a functional role assigned to you, you're going to have to go get another organization administrator. If you find that you are an organization that's in this position, please reach out to Ginnie Mae Customer Support at the Bank of New York Mellon. We will provide their information later on in this presentation so that you can find out what you need to do in order to add more organization administrators to your organization. Please note you will be required to update your HUD 11702. Next slide. Okay, so here's a little bit more about functional roles. Functional roles, as I mentioned, are access-based roles that are assigned to users based on their business activities. These have already been established in MyGinnieMay and are updated accordingly as we introduce new modernized applications in the portal. Here's just a sample of some of the functional roles that exist in the portal today. As you'll note, we have what's called a basic user for some of our roles. And these are the folks that do data entry, they might upload pools, but they don't actually have the authority to submit. That is the responsibility of an authorized signer who is a HUD 11702 signatory and has an RSA token. So, if you do not already have an RSA token, you don't need to go get a token in order to complete any functions in the portal that you already completed in our legacy systems. If you do have an RSA token, you will connect that token to, or if your users have RSA tokens, you will connect that existing token to their new MyGinnieMay account so that they can continue to do business with that token. So I don't want you to think that a token is now required for any activities that they were not already required for, okay? Also, please note that as you're assigning functional roles, an authorized signer gets all of the functionality that a basic user receives, but they also have the additional rights of an authorized signer. So as an organization administrator, when you are assigning a functional role to an authorized signer, you can simply give them the authorized signer functional role. You do not need to also give them the basic user functional role. So only one functional role required if they are an authorized signer. And I should note here that you are able to assign more than one functional role. So if your users have multiple business responsibilities in your organization, you are absolutely able to give them multiple functional roles. However, do not, please, my organization administrators, do not give them every functional role available. That is a red flag to the operations administrator, and they will not approve that user's access if they see something like that occur. So please make sure that you are not assigning every functional role, as it will not go through. There is no reason for anyone who does business with Ginnie Mae through MyGinnieMay to have access to every functional role, okay? So again, please make sure that you are understanding the business responsibilities of your users and assigning the correct functional role accordingly. These functional roles are in what's called the functional role matrix, which is in the appendix of the MyGinnieMay Getting Started User Manual. And we also have information on functional roles in the Access Management Console User Manual. These are two resources that are already made available to you on the modernization page of the Ginnie Mae website. We'll talk more about them when we get to our resources slide later on in the presentation. This overview will also be provided to you on the modernization page of the Ginnie Mae website, including the recording for this call and several other tools and resources. So again, we will post the information for that later so that it is available to you after this presentation. Next slide. So again, I do want to drive home what some of the responsibilities and privileges are for our organization administrators, because these are new functions that you didn't actually have before in our legacy system. So you're able to register users. You can approve or reject those registration requests. You can request a functional role for your users. You can approve or reject those functional roles. You can remove a functional role. You're able to enable and disable user accounts. You can lock and unlock user accounts. And this really does put a lot more security in your hands. You know better than we do when users are moving around your organization, leaving your organization, and we think that it's relevant for you to have the ability to lock or unlock, enable or disable those accounts accordingly, so that you can protect your information and business transactions through our system. And that's exactly why you have those functions. Your end users are able to reset their own passwords. If they've forgotten their password, they can follow the forgot password functionality to do all of that sort of stuff on their own. They are able to have their one-time PIN delivered to a mobile device, a smart device, so they can register or deregister with Oracle Mobile Authenticator to get that PIN delivered to a mobile device. And they can update some of their own account attributes, such as their phone number and their business title. Please note that as an organization administrator, you too can assist them in deregistering, meaning removing a smart device from the Oracle Mobile Authenticator if they're having trouble doing that on their own. You're also able to update their account attributes. And there are a couple of attributes, including adding an RSA token, that you can do that your end users are not able to do on their own. But the most important thing to mention on this slide is the role of the operations administrator. The operations administrator at the Bank of New York Mellon, on behalf of Ginny Mae, is only able to finalize do final acknowledgement or finalization on access requests. So as you are onboarding a new end user, and you are taking them through the workflow, you're getting their account established, and you're requesting a functional role for them, the last step in that process is for the operations administrator to, quote unquote, finalize that role. That is the only action on this list that the Bank of New York Mellon, on behalf of Ginny Mae, is able to complete on behalf of your end users. So please do not contact them and ask them to manage any of these other functions. As an organization administrator, you can call them to assist you and guide you if you need help with these steps, but they cannot take these actions on behalf of your end users or on behalf of you to manage your end user accounts. Now, the Operations Administrator is responsible for onboarding and managing organization administrator accounts, but anything relating to an end user account or your functions as an end user, the Operations Administrator is not able to conduct on your behalf. So they are there to guide you, they are there to assist you and support you, but they cannot complete those actions for you. Okay? Next slide. So we're actually not going to talk through these steps because Wade Gale, Bank of New York Mellon, has a fantastic demonstration to show you. But here are some instructions on completing a registration invitation, which you will need to do for your own account before you begin to take your end users through the process. But there is a registration invitation that is sent to you via email. Those emails started going out today. You must respond within 24 hours or that email invitation expires. And you will need to contact Ginny Mae Customer Support at the Bank of New York Mellon for a new email invitation. This is also true when you begin to send your own registration invitations to your end users. You're going to want to make sure that folks are available and in the office or with access to their email so that they can complete that registration invitation within the 24-hour time frame, or you're going to find yourself sending another invitation. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. You do need to accept some terms and conditions. I also want to, I should mention that you will want to make sure that if you or the person you're registering is a token holder, you'll want to indicate that at the time of registration and complete the information, including the token serial number, so that the Bank of New York Mellon is able to properly connect that RSA token to the new MyGennyMay account. If this is not done at the time of account registration, there is an extra step involved after the account has been established, which requires you to reach out to the Bank of New York Mellon to complete that access. Otherwise, the user will not be able to use their token. Next slide. Again, some terms and conditions and a privacy policy for you to accept before you complete some additional information about your, with some details about yourself, including a phone number. If you want to add a mobile phone number, we also have you establish your initial password at this time, and then you go through and finish this. I'm going through this very quickly because Wade is going to show you these same steps in a moment. Next slide. And so this is actually how you access the Access Management Console. Again, I'm just going to breeze right through this because Wade Gale at the Bank of New York Mellon is going to show you how to get there and how to complete your responsibilities as an organization administrator. Next slide. Here's what I want to talk to you about. This is our onboarding workflow, okay? This is the workflow for establishing a new user account, which we call registration, and then providing a functional role to that user account, which we call access. There is a request and an approval required for each. So if you start on the left-hand side of your screen, this begins with an organization administrator sending an email invitation to an end user. That end user completes the invitation with a few additional details, including their phone number and setting up their password. Adding information, if they have an RSA token, can be done at this time. They submit that form, and then another organization administrator, meaning not the organization administrator who sent the invitation, another organization administrator will receive that registration request and will approve it if everything is correct. If for some reason some information in that request is inaccurate, the org admin would reject that request and we would start over. But assuming that everything is correct, that organization administrator approves the request and then immediately proceeds to request a functional role for that user. Once that role has been requested, another organization administrator, so meaning not the one who requested the functional role, will go in and either approve or reject that functional role request, okay? If there's an error in the functional role request, you can reject it at that time and then start over with requesting a new functional role. But assuming everything is correct, that organization administrator will approve the functional role. It will then go to the operations administrator at the Bank of New York Mellon for finalization. Once they have finalized that request, that user, the user will receive a welcome email and an acknowledgement email that a functional role has been assigned, and they will be able to log into MyGennyMay and access our business applications through the portal. We're explaining this workflow to you because it outlines for you the responsibilities in terms of having more than one organization administrator to request and then approve the registration as well as the access. And it also highlights the finalization step by the operations administrator at the Bank of New York Mellon. This is all designed to help you understand this is not an instantaneous process. there are people involved throughout the workflow that need to be available to complete these actions. Whenever a request is made, there is an initiation of a notification to all of the other organization administrators that something needs to be approved. So you don't have to go in and constantly check MyJennyMay to see if there's some work waiting there for you. You will get notification when something needs to be approved, triggering you to go in and approve that request. But I do want you to know that there are multiple people involved in providing registration and access to any one end user. So it's important to know this because if your organization only has 2 organization administrators and someone finds themselves urgently needing access to the portal, either their functional roles have been removed because they allowed their account to go inactive, or they have new access that is required because someone is missing and maybe they need to step in and do work on someone's behalf. You must have 2 organization administrators available to complete this workflow to provide that access. So I highly advise that you establish a minimum of 3, if not more, organization administrators that are able to step in and assist in this workflow, because the operations administrator at the Bank of New York Mellon on behalf of Jenny May will not be able to assist. Again, I say, I highly advise that you have a minimum of 3, probably more, organization administrators who can be available in the event of an urgency or emergency in order to provide access to any of your end users, okay? We will answer more questions about that after our demonstration at the end of our presentation. Next slide. Okay. So I think that actually we are ready to go to our live demonstration. Ian, can you fast forward just a little bit? We'll get to the troubleshooting after our demo. Yep. So Wade, are you on the line?
Yes, I am, Letitia. Good morning.
Okay, wake up. It's your turn.
Oh, okay. Good morning, everyone. It's Wade Gale, BNY Mellon, and happy Tuesday, and welcome to MyJennyMay. Just try and share my screen so everybody can see. And I should let most, as I can see, what's happening in my group here right now. We have been sending out invites, and I have seen a lot of responses. So my team is actually going in and assigning the privileged role to those org admins that have actually responded to the invite. So that's where we're going to start. For those who have not actually seen what the invite would look like, you'll notice you will get this invite into your email address, of course, the one you provided, and this is the one you actually need to fill out so you can continue with the workflow. So what I'm going to do, this is what it looks like. It says you have been invited to register to MyJennyMay portal. In order to complete the registration, you have to do certain things. And just to fill out some basic information on the form and send that to us so you can actually get proper access. So I'm going to actually try to play that one of the users. And I say play. It's really an operative word when you're dealing with Wade Gale doing these things. So my system works better on Chrome, so I'm actually trying to get to that section. So all I did, I just copied the link into Chrome so it will actually display much easier for me so I can actually finish up the invite. So this is the new registration form. It says, so the person's name, the middle initial if there's one, and of course the person's last name and your email address. Then there's certain fields you have to fill in. The first thing, your work number. If you do have a phone number, you put it in. And I tell you, this is Wade Gill doing this thing. 8410. And if you want to share your mobile number, you can do that. First of all, as part of the setup, it's asking for a password. So this is when you're actually going to set up a password you're going to be using when you're logging in when the system is complete. So let me put in a password. And it needs confirmation. Okay, so the password is in, and then you have this question. We've been talking, I've heard Letitia mention RSA token so many times. So during our presentation, we want to drive that home. Now, this, if you do have a token, it does ask a question, do you have an RSA token? If you say yes, we are asking you to provide that 9-digit serial number, of course. And if you say no, well, it's not recommended for you to put on anything because you do not have a token. So, org admins, if you know as an org admin you are also going to be a end user, it's very important for you to put in that 9-digit RSA token. Because you're going to need that when you're doing your submission of your pools, either in the GenNet space or in your investor reporting space. So you want to make sure you have the proper connection right there and then. For this lesson, I'm just going to put no. Then we have to go through the agreement and terms and conditions. I'm going to put in my checkbox there. Once I've read all that, I agree. I'm a very fast reader. And then I want to accept the policy. Once all of this is done, I'm going to click on yes. Just want to look it over again just to make sure everything is okay. Then I'm going to click on finish. So that approval registration actually went out to go through the next process, and most likely, since it was sent by the operation admin, it's going to come back to us so we can actually go through it, approve it, and then assign the privilege role for you as a org admin. Vicky, did I leave anything out there, or I'm good so far?
Sorry, I just wanted to add with the RSA piece, if you currently have a token and you enter the serial number in that section on the registration page, it triggers off a notification to BNY Mellon, and that's where we will go and associate the IDs, your new IDs, to your current token. And your new ID is your My Jenny May ID, which is your email address, and we'll associate all of the IDs on the back end for you. If you do not enter the RSA information on the user registration, on the registration page, and you enter it after you've completed the registration, the notification that's generated will go to your org admin, and your org admin would need to send in that registration. And there is instructions on that email, and they would send in that registration email to the BNY Mellon group to associate your IDs.
Thank you very much, Vicki. And again, I'm just going to second that. If you did not put in a RSA token and you decide to put in one when you're going through the functional roles, that information is not going to go through the proper workflow. Its information is going to go to you, the org admin, giving you instructions on how to get that information to BNY Mellon. So it's very important to actually look at some of those emails that you're getting through My Jenny May. So I'm going to go fast forward. The invitation came in. It was approved. The role was assigned. Notification went back to you that you can now log in. So I'm going to try and log in as a org admin. And I just did this for training purposes because I just wanted to give, so I don't mess up with this user ID. So let me put in my password. And if everything is okay, I'm going to click on Login. Okay, Vicky, I'm going to ask you to take over right here. Vicky? You're not done. Yeah. Okay. This is a piece of the multi-factor authenticator. You have heard about one OTP, and you have heard about the one-time Oracle Mobile Authenticator. You have two ways of actually getting that PIN that you're going to need to get access to the system. What I did, I already did my mobile authenticator information, so that's the one I'm going to choose. If you choose the first one-time PIN through email, that one-time PIN is going to come through your email address, so you have to look out for that OTP. And then once you either can copy it or you can type it manually into your system. So I'm going to click on OK, my one-time PIN. So that's going to come to my phone. I'm going to find it, and then I'm going to put it in.
So wait, before you move away from the screen, I just wanted to add on here. You have two options to receive your one-time PIN. It's multi-factor authentication. So once you enter your user ID and your password, you have to enter the one-time PIN. The one-time PIN, you have the option to receive it by email or by your mobile device. And if you look on the screen here, it says, it's the last sentence on here. It says Oracle Mobile Authenticator Instructions. So wait, if you click on this link, it gives you the instructions on downloading the mobile app to your device, maybe a smart device, a phone, or a iPad. And once it's downloaded, it allows you to scan the code. And here is where you would put in your user ID and password, which you log into MyJennyMay with, and it will register you for mobile authenticator, so you can receive your PIN via your mobile device.
Thank you very much, Vicky. So I'm going to actually put in my PIN. Click on Login. Cool. And once I log in, I was able to get to. I should go back here. This is where I should get actually. You get to the dashboard. And the dashboard is just before you actually get into doing your activity as an org admin. So you'll notice that you'll maybe see your issuer number, or you might see your name here, and and this is just the dashboard. Of course, there's also some notices on here. This just went up last weekend, telling you how to. Just a reminder, you have the one-time PIN delivered to a smart device registered today. So that's new out there, so you can actually do that as part of the process. So you'll see that, and some more information on the screen here as part of your dashboard. But for us as org admin, our main responsibility as org admin is actually to manage our end users. So we want to get to that section that actually deals with that. Right up here where it says Tools, we're going to click on Tools. And on the Tools, we're going to go where it says Application, Access Management Console, AMC. That's what you're going to live and breathe AMC, because that's where you're going to do most of your processing. So let's click on AMC. And of course, to get this warning and want to click on Yes, brings up your tiles. You're going to notice that you need to have those 4 tiles. You need to have a tile that says new user registration. Of course, as an org admin, you'll be sending out invite to your end users, so you need that tile. Then you have access requests. This is where you're going to go in and make your selection for those end users and associate them with the functional role they need to actually finish their job. And then you have pending approval. Of course, this is where you'll do all those approval. If you are a second admin, you're going to go in and do the approval and finish that process. And this is just the user management section. It brings up the user's profile, and there you can see the status of where those functional roles are. It could be waiting for approval. It could be in a finalization state, waiting to confirm. So you'll see all of that on the user management. So you must have these 4 tiles as part of your process. Okay, so we have done that. We have set up the user. We're good with that. Now I just want to show you how you would go in and send out an invite. Right here where it says new issuer registration. We're going to click where it says application. Once application, where you say others, you're going to see user registration. Let's double click on that. This is a screen that comes up for you to fill out so you can send that information to your end user. Very simple information. Just want to put in someone's title, their name, middle initial if they have one, and last name, of course. Their title. Of course, this is a stretch, but let's play like it's a small org, a small organization, and of course the CEO does everything also, and their org. Now I'm going to put in the email address. Let me put this one in and see what happens. Okay, I'm putting in the email address. What I usually suggest when you do that, to just click out of the box just to make sure that email is correct and it's actually whitelisted. So, or you haven't sent this email to this user, you haven't sent this information to another user already. So once this information is in, let's do verify again. The name, last name, title, org, and email address. And once that's done, you click on submit. And of course, you get an error message. we'll figure out what that error message is, so you might have to get a call through our hotline just to figure out what's going on. That's just, this is the information. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to do the verification again, just to make sure everything is okay. If I'm happy with this registration, I can go ahead and do the approval. If I see something here that maybe the person's name is spelled incorrectly, I can actually do a rejection. So this is very important, because if we have the wrong spelling of the name in the system here, then it becomes another task to get rid of, to make a name change. So you want to be careful when you're putting the information up front. So I'm going to approve this. And so, of course, you want to make sure confirm registration approval. Okay, so that information has now been sent over to the second. Actually, I did approve it already as the second org admin. So what I can do now is actually give this person functional roles. Vicky, please tell me if I'm missing anything.
No, you're fine.
Oh, I don't get that a lot. That I'm fine. So I'll go with that.
So you're going back to home, right?
You mean home in Far Rockaway, New York, or home here?
No,
Okay.
definitely not.
Okay, not home. Okay, so now I'm here. Now my user is set up, and I want to give that person access to their functional roles. So this is where I'm going to go, where it says access request. Let's click on access request. Okay, and there's that person, Wade Harry. Just information comes up, and all the roles are there for that person. Now, this person is definitely going to be doing new pools. It's going to be doing processing via JennyNet. So we want to look for some of those roles and see if you see anything there that says loan. Yes. And you notice it says loan delivery and pooling authorized signer. And if this person is an authorized signer, you want to make sure you give them that. And what I've seen over the last couple of weeks, people are also giving the same user basic user. And I think Letitia had mentioned that earlier. You don't need to give that person basic user and authorized signer, because the basic roles fold up into the authorized signer role. So we're just going to give this person the authorized signer. And of course, if this person is going to be doing anything, they're also going to be doing investor reporting as part of the process. Let's click on that also. So those are the two roles that have been assigned to this user. And again, Genme wants to make sure you're given the roles that that person will use to do their daily function. You don't want to flood their system with all these different kind of roles because they're there. Just give them what they need to get their job done. Once that's done, I'm going to click on Assign Roles. And now what it does, it just gives you an idea of what the more detailed information on what the roles are. You know, you see the RSA token there because you have an authorized signer. And the same thing for the investor reporting. You have the authorized signer and all the necessary entitlements that you'll need as part of that role. So the next thing you're going to do is submit. Always have to confirm. So what it does, it goes through a couple of stages just to make sure the information was sent. And you want to look to get this information here. All requests were submitted successfully. So that you want to say yes. You want to do yes. That means the role has moved on to the next into the next stage. Vicky, anything you want to say on that?
No. We can continue.
So the role is out there now, so I can actually log in as the second admin. Am I correct? So let's try that. I'm going to, of course, take it from Wade Gale. That will happen. Put in the password. Password. And once that's verified, I'm going to click on continue or log in. Then it comes up again with your one-time PIN, your multi-factor authenticator. Now, I did choose this one also to go to my mobile phone instead of my email. So I'm going to click one-time PIN from the Oracle Mobile Authenticator. And then, let me get to my phone and get my PIN. Once that's in, I'm going to double-click on this. And if everything goes well, it goes right into my system and right on my dashboard here. But I want to get the tools as a access management control. I'm going to get to my tile and see if I can find this person here that's pending. So let's see. Okay. Now here are the roles that I did. You have, and you notice status now says pending. That means the second org admin needs to go in and do the approval. So let's click on the first request ID, and those are the roles. Again, if as the second org admin, if you realize that this person should not be getting these roles, you have the ability to actually write here. It says reject. But we're not going to do any reject today. We're going to be positive. So we're going to go on the positive side and we're going to choose approve. We're going to confirm. And it goes through its little thing up the top there, and its functional roles 11466 approval successfully pending final search, final confirmation. I'm going to do the one for the second one. And here are the roles in more detail, and I'm going to approve also. Confirmed. And once this is confirmed, now the next stage would be for the ops admin to do their finalization. That we won't show, but I'll just go back to see if I can find, maybe there had to be someone in here that actually had been finalized. So just to give you an idea what it looks. No, I should go back. I should go to user management. Just to give you what the process looks like, we're going to pretend. This is a pretend. We're going to pretend like BNY Mellon did their piece. And if I can just bring up a user with that role. Vicky, can I bring this one up?
Fine. Let's see if it has a functional role added.
If it has a functional role, yes.
So this
That's
is
the
org
admin.
admin only, right? So bring up the one that you just did approval on, user management.
The one I just did approval on. Okay, I'll bring that one up. Okay, notice it says approve here. So it goes through a couple more stages, and of course, what's going to happen? It goes to approved and pending. Then it needs to go through the process of getting finalized. Once it gets finalized, the last thing changed is to confirmed. Once it's confirmed, that's when a notice is going to go back to the user telling them that roles have been confirmed. And once everything is done, that person should be able to log into the system as an end user, and they should be able to see the dashboard, see their screen, and then just try and maneuver and navigate through the my Jenny May space.
Oh, wait, can we stay on that screen for 1 minute?
Sure. So as an org admin, it's, as Letitia had mentioned, and we just want to drive this home, if you only have 2 people in your office, that's going to be the org admin, and you are also going to be an end user, that means you're going to need a third person to finish the workflow. So that's very important, so you have at least 3 people as an org admin so you can finish that workflow if you're going to play the role as org admin and end user also. So you need those 3 org admins set up. And again, the org admin must be on the company's corporate resolution, the 11702, because that is something we do our verification on when that person comes in. So you want to make sure all that's also is also there. Okay, so I think Vicky, do you still want me to stay on the screen?
Yeah, let's just go back, see if the confirmation has changed.
Okay, no problem. I can do that.
No, user management, sorry.
User management.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we're in UAT, so it's a little bit slow, people. So as soon as you get into your real production space, it will be a little bit much faster than this. You want to go back here at wait?
Yes.
Cool. That's all I wanted to say. We still have 1 stage to go, but it now says the status changed from it does say finalized. That means we're getting there, people. We just have 1 more. Once it goes through its stage behind the scene now and does its checks and balances and everything is okay, it actually changes status to confirmed here. Let me bring up that underlay page at the bottom here. Oh, good. You notice some of the roles have already start confirmed. So you see status is changing as it go along. So this is what you want to actually, as a org admin, you also can view it on that underlay page behind the scenes to get an idea what's going on. So these are confirmed already, and it takes a while before everything gets confirmed. But you want to make sure the final status here says confirmed, and that's when the end user should be able to go in and log in successfully and view the My Jenny May space, and should be able to go in and start their processing or just navigate through the system. I think that concludes the demo. Letitia?
Wow, Wade, that was fast. All right, let's see if we got any questions out there. Actually, Wade, don't go too far because I think we need to go back up and talk about a little bit of our troubleshooting tips before.
Troubleshooting, sure.
Okay, Ian, can you take us back over to the presentation and get us started with that troubleshooting slide that was situated just before the demo?
Here we go.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Troubleshoot. Of course, I'm sure some of you will experience this in the next day and a half or maybe even sometime today. 3 different errors may appear in the AMC when sending an invitation. We're going to look at the first one. Email is already registered. That makes sense. When sending a new registration to an end user. If the email is already registered, the invitation cannot be sent to the end user. Of course, you're going to get that error message. It's going to be, the rectangle is going to be red. You're going to have the message, the email address is already registered in the system. So you forget that you already set up Wade Gale on the system and you're trying to send another invite to Wade. So this is going to tell you right away that you can't do that. Resolution, since the system is configured to prevent invitation to email addresses already registered, if attempting to add a functional role, please refer to the section Request Functional Role. So if that's what you want to do here, you're in the wrong area for that. Next slide, please. Yes, the 3 invitation sent alert. This is when sending a new registration invitation to the end user, if an invitation has already been sent to the end user email address 3 times, an alert will be displayed as a warning. So that you might have to look out for too if you realize that you're sending invites to Mabel Jones because Mabel Jones did not accept the first one, because possibility it could have gone somewhere else into her junk mail, and she's looking for it into her regular email section. So that is something you just have to tell the users just to be aware of. An invite can only be sent to a total of 5 times. So after 3 times, you're going to get that notification, user registration request has been sent to the user 3 times. So you do get that notice. So that's just a sanity check for you today. Darn, my times are running out. I can't send it anymore. It's a warning. No action is required, as invitation cannot be sent up to more than 5 times. Next slide. Okay. Now, if you do get this something, that either the person is on vacation or the person said, I'm just ignoring your email completely. So the 5 invitations sent flag. When sending a new registration invite to the end user, if the invitation has already been sent and the user email address a total of 5 times, the email address will be flagged and additional requests cannot be sent. So you just want to be careful there. I don't think any of our org admin will go to the 5 times, but if you do go to 5 times, you're going to get that message there. And what's this going to happen? You have to get in touch with us here at BNY Mellon. We have to end up doing something behind the scenes to clear that before you can actually try and send another invite to that end user. So you just want to be careful in terms of the 3 times or the 5 times. The 5 times you definitely have to get in touch with us. The 3 times is just a warning. And of course the 1 time is if you actually enter the an email that was already in the system, because that user does have access to MyJennyMay. So those are some of the troubleshooting. Next slide.
All right.
I am done again. Letitia, I think this is for you now.
Okay, here we go. So, what we're going to talk about now are, thank you, Wade, by the way, and Vicki for that live demonstration. If folks have questions, we will get to those here in just a moment. But there are a couple of more tips that we want to discuss. So as I mentioned, as you're preparing for onboarding your own end users, and yes, that is an activity that you must complete on behalf of your end users at your organization, please do keep in mind what I already mentioned, which is that, 2 org admins are required per the MBS guide, but we strongly suggest 3 or more in the event that your organization finds itself in an emergency situation in terms of having to manage its users. You're going to want to make sure that folks are available on the fly to be able to assist. So I do strongly encourage a minimum of 3 administrators in order to properly manage this workflow in an urgent situation. Keeping in mind that to be an organization administrator, you do have to be listed on the form HUD 11702. So if you do need to add organization administrators who are not already listed on the HUD 11702, please, that's your board of resolution, please make sure you get that updated. You can reach out to our Ginnie Mae customer support team for more information and assistance, but you are going to have to update that 11702. And then just remember that org admins are not permitted to manage their own user accounts. So if you are an org admin, and the system will prohibit it, you won't even be able to attempt that. So if you are an org admin that needs to conduct business on behalf of your organization as an end user, please also make sure that there are 2 other organization administrators available to request that access on your behalf. I do want to clarify here that when I said 1 user account, I really meant it. I know our legacy systems required you guys to have, multiple accounts for multiple reasons, including your administrative responsibilities, separate and apart from your business activities. That is no longer true. When I said 1 username, 1 password, I meant it. So for all of the access, whether you are an administrator, an end user, whether you need access to multiple organization IDs because you do multifamily and single family, or you have multiple single family org IDs, or you are an issuer and a subservicer, whatever the arrangement might be in terms of how you do business with Ginnie Mae and what type of access you require, it will all be provided to you with 1 username and 1 password, meaning you will log in using your email address and your password and an OTP, one-time PIN, and all of the access that you require will be available to you at your fingertips, okay? And so a couple other things to note. My Ginnie Mae is supported by Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, and Mozilla Firefox. I do want to make a caveat here. Google Chrome is the preferred browser for my Ginnie Mae, meaning it does tend to operate more efficiently and faster when opened in Google Chrome. However, our legacy systems, GinnieNet and GMAP 1.0, those systems do prefer Internet Explorer, and there are some pop-ups and notifications which may not display if you have opened up the portal in Chrome or Mozilla. So if you are finding or having some issues as you're navigating through doing work in the portal, please try a new web browser. So if you're in Chrome, try Explorer. If you're in Explorer, try Chrome, so on and so forth. As we continue to modernize our legacy systems, there will be less and less of that. Right now, it is the beast that we deal with being in both modernized and legacy at the same time, but as we continue to modernize, you will note that you're going to have more and more improved efficiencies in our web browser experience. However, pop-up blockers must be disabled. I repeat, pop-up blockers must be disabled. If you do not disable pop-up blockers in whatever web browser you are using, you will not be able to navigate properly through the portal. Pop-up blockers must be disabled. Okay, next slide. Okay. So again, as you go to onboard your end users, there are key pieces of information that you're going to want to collect. If you are an organization administrator in Wave 2, you are in the process of receiving user lists via email from cxg@hud.gov. So over the next 3 days, you will be getting email from us with the users listed for the users of your organization from our legacy systems as of November 2019. This is the latest list we are able to provide to you and is designed to be a guide to assist you. It is not a rule, meaning you cannot and should not take that information as the final source of truth for any users that will need access to MyJennyMay on behalf of your organization. It is a starting point and a tool to assist you, but you are responsible for making sure that the users of your organization are given proper access and that you have collected the accurate information. It does not list any token numbers. So you will also need to identify who your token holders are and collect those serial numbers on behalf of those users or instruct them to enter that information at the time that they are completing their registration invitations, okay? So again, over the next several days, you will be receiving a list of users from your organization that were in legacy systems. JennyMay legacy systems of GMAP 1.0 and JennyNet. You can use that information to assist you in onboarding those users into MyJennyMay, but it is your responsibility to make sure that that information is accurate and that all of your users are properly onboarded into MyJennyMay, okay? Again, as a reminder, do not send registration invitations to users that are expected to be out of the office. Those registration invitations expire after 24 hours, as Wade noted in his troubleshooting. You only get so many bites at that apple. So as a matter of best practice, do not send registration invitation emails to users that you are known to be out of the office. Also, in terms of being able to navigate the portal, with little trouble, do not bookmark the login screen. This is the screen where you will enter your username and password. Do not bookmark that page. It has been known to create some problems in terms of the cookies. Please bookmark the landing page, the public landing page at my.jennymay.gov. There's no www there, my.jennymay.gov. As long as you're beginning on that page and then selecting the login button, you will be able to navigate properly. If you do choose to bookmark that login page, do not contact me when the page does not load properly, okay? So, my.jennymay.gov is the page to bookmark. There are user manuals on jennymay.gov on the modernization page to assist you. Please note that any user of the portal will want to begin with the Getting Started user manual. This is general information about the portal and resetting passwords, completing your registration invitation, just general information about navigating the portal. But for your responsibilities as an organization administrator, you will be using the Access Management Console that Wade showed you in his demonstration and that he and Vicki talked you through. The Access Management Console is only available to our privileged users known as organization administrators, and there is a separate user manual for you to follow in order to complete the activities that you complete in the Access Management Console. That user manual is also available on the modernization page of the JennyMay website. Next slide. Okay, so what's next? So between now and Thursday, you will get an email from donotReply_access@jennymay.gov. So please be looking for that email. Check your junk folder. Between now and Thursday, do keep in mind the team has approximately 150 organizations, which means a whole lot more than that, organization administrators that need to be onboarded. Give them a moment. Between now and Thursday, you will receive that email invitation from donotReply_access@jennymay.gov. Okay, you will reply to that registration invitation within 24 hours of receiving it. If you do not receive an invitation on Friday, please contact Ginny Mae, Customer Support. The information is at the bottom of this screen. That is Ginny Mae Customer Support, 1-833-GNMA-HELP. That's 1-833-466-2435. Or send them an email at jinnymay1@bnymellon.com. If you do not receive, if you believe you are an organization administrator with an organization that is being provided access in Wave 2, and if you have a question about whether or not you're in Wave 2, go to the modernization page of the Ginny Mae website and look at the release and training schedule. Look underneath the release and training schedule. We have the waves listed there with issuer IDs or org IDs, corresponding org IDs there. So if you are in Wave 2 and you do not receive a registration invitation, you are an organization administrator, formerly known as a security officer or enrollment administrator in our legacy systems. If you are in Wave 2 and do not receive an email by Thursday, on Friday, please contact Ginny Mae Customer Support to request a registration invitation to be sent to you, okay? A couple other things to note. Your target date for onboarding users into the portal for your organization is June 3rd. That means you will want to make sure that any key users at your organization, any key end users, have their access to MyGinnyMay by June 3rd. And here's why. That is the date in which your users will no longer be able to log directly into our legacy systems. That means that as of June 3rd, your users will be required to go through MyGinnyMay in order to access our legacy systems and applications that they need to access to do business with Ginny Mae. So your target date for having all of your users, or at least your key users, in the portal is going to be June 3rd. Encourage your end users to attend MyGinnyMay training. There is a release and training schedule posted on the modernization page of the Ginny Mae website. You are welcome to attend, as are your end users, welcome to attend any of the training sessions that we have listed there. We're posting training call details on an ongoing basis, but the training dates have all been provided on the release and training schedule. So if your users are not able to attend the session that is targeting their wave, they are welcome to attend another session, or they are welcome to listen to a recording of any of those sessions that will be made available on the modernization page of the Ginny Mae website. Okay, we'll be posting more recordings later today and tomorrow, so if you don't see a recording that you're looking for from a previous training, it'll be there soon. So check that page often, the modernization page of the Ginny Mae website. If you go to jinnymay.gov and you hover over issuers, you'll drop down under issuer training and see modernization. All of the information is in the My Ginny Mae section on the modernization page of the Ginny Mae website. We also encourage you and your end users to attend our weekly listening sessions. On the Thursdays that we do not have training scheduled, which we do have training scheduled this Thursday, so our next session will be next Thursday. But on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we have portal experts available to you so that you can call in and ask questions every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We also provide best practices and any updates that are relevant to our folks that are in the portal on those listening sessions. So every Thursday that we do not have training scheduled, so we'll be joining you again next Thursday. You are welcome to join us and encourage your end users to join us for those weekly listening sessions. So if you have general questions about the release effort, you are welcome to contact cxg@hud.gov. But if you have technical questions or need assistance in your roles and responsibilities as an organization administrator, I encourage you to contact Ginnie Mae Customer Support. Their information is on this slide. We have just a couple minutes left. We're going to open it up for questions. If you have a question, please, at the bottom of your screen, if you have joined us using the audio on your computer, raise your hand so that we can unmute your line and allow you to ask a question. If you joined us on a telephone, please hit *9 to let us know that you'd like us to unmute your line. So you're also welcome to submit a question via the Q&A chat features at the bottom of the screen, and we'll attempt to answer your question that way as well. There is polling questions. Please make sure that you complete the polls so that we have a good sense of whether or not we were able to answer your questions and concerns. And it'll help us make this training better for the folks that are to follow. Okay? So again, raise your hand at the bottom of the screen if you want to join us through the computer audio, *9 if you want to join us on the phone. Ian?
Yeah, we get one person from the phone, the area code 405, last 4 digits 7000. Go ahead.
So when we as admins send the email to the end users, the invite, what email address will they receive in their inbox? Who does it come from?
It comes from do-not-reply_access@ginniemay.gov.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem.
All right, we have one more from the phone, area code 248, last 4 digits 8700.
Hello.
Go ahead. Hey.
Hello. We were attempting to add a third person who's already on the 11702 as an org admin, submitted the paperwork. When, today or whenever they get their invitation as an org admin, they won't have an RSA token at that point, I'm assuming. How do we get them an RSA token?
Unless that user is going to be transmitting as an authorized signer, they don't need an RSA token to be an organization administrator.
Yep, and they will be transmitting, so we do need to have them have one.
Okay, well that wouldn't impact their ability to conduct their activities as an organization administrator, but if you have questions about getting them an RSA token, please reach out to Ginnie Mae Customer Support, and they'll be able to work with you directly regarding that user.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
No other voice at this time. I think we have a couple in the...
Sorry, let me just answer the question with the RSA. Once you assign a functional role to the end user or the org admin, once they receive that functional role, it will generate a notification that will come to the additional org admins within the company, and there's instructions on that email that tells you how to apply for the token. It will give you the registration form.
Thanks, Vicki. Okay, we do have a few questions in the chat. I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to answer all of them, but I will try to get to the ones that I think are going to provide that I did not already cover. Wade and Vicki, there is a question on the line about the best way to pull a list of active users. Are they able to do that in legacy systems on their own?
It depends. I believe I just looked at that question also. Is it active users within GMAP One or GinnieNet, or is it active users that hold a RSA token?
Both, all of that.
Okay, so the active users, you can go directly to the legacy systems and look up that information. So the security officers can look for that information in GMAP One. the enrollment officers can do that in GennyNet, and then you can send a request to the GMAP1 email address and give us your issuer number and ask us how many users within your organization hold the RSA token.
Thank you. If you have questions, general questions about the release and training schedule or the waves, please first visit the modernization page of the Ginny Mae website. The waves are listed there. If you have additional questions, please reach out to cxg@hud.gov. And for those folks that may not be aware, My Ginny Mae was put into production more than 2 years ago. We've done several billions of dollars worth of business through the portal. Our platinum depositors have a modernized application already in the portal and have been doing platinum pools in the portal since July of 2017. We also have a modernized pool delivery module for our multifamily issuers that has been in production for quite some time, and they have been actively pooling through that pool delivery module as well. So the portal is in production. It's working. Let's see. Any other questions on the line, Ian?
Nope, not at this time.
Okay. Let's see here. I do have a couple more questions that I will address in the chat. Please do make sure if you're leaving us that you take an opportunity to complete the polling questions. We take your feedback very seriously. That content does actually make its way all the way up to our senior executives. So please do take the time to fill out that chat. I don't understand the question on what is the link for authentication. So if you can please resubmit your question with a little more detail, that would be helpful. So here's a good question. Once you're set up in the new portal at My Ginny Mae, can you still use legacy systems directly? The answer is for a limited amount of time. I don't know why you would, considering you have to log in with a separate email address and password to each of those systems when you can log in with one password, email and password into My Ginny Mae to access those systems. But you will be able to continue to log into those legacy systems directly until June 3rd. And then we will cut off that access, and you must go exclusively through My Ginny Mae. For the folks that are concerned about making sure that you get those email registration invitations, please be looking out for an email from donotReply_access@ginnymay.gov. That's donotReply_access@ginnymay.gov. I have a question here about document custodians. Our document custodians are in our final wave, which begins on April 27th. Our document custodians will begin to gain access to My Ginny Mae on April 27th. In the meantime, they will continue to access GinnyNet directly, and there will be no interruption to any of your business functions or transactions that need to be completed. Okay, here's a good question about getting folks added as an organization administrator if they're already on the 11702. Quite simply, please reach out to Ginny Mae customer support at 1-833-GNMA-HELP or GinnyMay1@bnymellon.com. If those folks are already listed on the 11702, they'll easily be able to assist you. There is a little of information, I think a form they might need you to fill out, and then they can get those folks registered, okay? One final question that I have here in the chat. It says, I'm a little fuzzy about the org admin being assigned basic roles in addition to being an org admin. So I'm not sure what's fuzzy, but if you are an organization administrator, The Bank of New York Mellon, as the operations administrator, will make sure that you receive a registration invitation to become a privileged user or organization administrator in the portal. If you need a business role assigned as well, you will need 2 other organization administrators at your organization to request and approve that functional role on your behalf. It's the same account. You'll use your email address and password to log into the account. It's just a matter of what functions you're completing when you get in there. As an organization administrator, you'll be able to go to the Access Management Console. As an end user, you will be provided access to whatever applications you need access to. If it's RFS, if it's JennyNet, based on the functional role that you are assigned, those are the systems that you will be able to access as an end user. You will not be able to access those systems unless you are provided the proper functional role. As an organization administrator, you are only provided access to the Access Management Console. It does not give you access to any of the other Ginnie Mae business systems. So, Ian, any other questions?
Nope, not right now.
Okay. As I mentioned earlier, if you have general questions about the release and our onboarding, our training schedule, user materials, please reach out to CXG for Customer Experience Group. That's CXG@HUD.gov. If you need assistance or have technical questions about the system, the portal, please reach out to our customer support team. That's Ginnie Mae Customer Support at 1-833-466-2435 or GinnieMay1@bnymellon.com. So I do want to thank Wade Gale and Vicki Mirage of the Bank of New York Mellon for joining us to provide a demonstration for us today. Ian Post at Deloitte for assisting us with leading this call. Again, my name is Letitia Jefferson. I am the Customer Experience Group Lead here at Ginnie Mae, and I thank you for joining us. We'll be posting this recording in just a few days on the modernization page of the Ginnie Mae website. Thank you.